If you walked to the kitchen at 3 in the morning last night, stepped on a cold floorboard, waited for your bladder to finish emptying while your heart hammered against your ribs, I need you to listen very carefully. You are not broken. You are not simply aging into a state of permanent exhaustion. You are caught in a silent mechanical loop that is often mistaken for a bladder problem when the truth is far more complex, far more systemic, and, crucially, highly manageable. The fatigue dragging behind you like a lead coat, the sudden brain fog that makes you forget why you opened the refrigerator, the quiet, unspoken dread of tripping in the dark, fracturing a hip, handing your independence over to strangers. It all traces back to a single, overlooked gravity-hormone paradox. Your doctor gave you 10 minutes. They handed you a prescription pad. They told you to stop drinking water after 6 in the evening, or to do a few pelvic exercises. That rushed appointment missed the entire cascade. By the time this session ends, you will understand the exact biological reason your kidneys flood your bladder while you sleep, and you will learn a precise, zero-cost self-observation experiment to help reset that system tonight. I am Dr. Marcus Wells. Just this past Tuesday, I spoke with a patient who reminded me why I spent decades studying the aging cardiovascular and renal systems. What you are about to hear is a framework for understanding your own body. It begins with a simple, terrifying question. Where is all that urine actually coming from when you haven't touched a glass of water in 8 hours? Let me tell you about Eleanor, 72 years old, retired school librarian. In November 2023, she brought a small leather notebook into my office. Every page was a grid of times. 2:14, 3:41, 4:52. She recorded the volume, the urgency, the exact shade of her morning exhaustion. She tried the standard advice. She cut off all fluids at dusk. She drank tart cherry juice. She wore compression socks that felt like industrial rubber bands. She took the medication her primary care physician prescribed, a smooth muscle relaxant that left her mouth so parched she had to sip water just to swallow her morning pills. The cycle tightened its grip. Eleanor stopped hosting Sunday dinners. She stopped taking her evening walks. She began sleeping in the recliner because the mattress felt too deep, too isolating, too far from the hallway. The real terror wasn't the bathroom trips. It was the arithmetic in her head. 3 times a night means 900 interruptions a year. That is 900 moments of standing in a dark hallway, heart rate spiking, blood pressure surging, balance compromised. She told me, voice trembling, that she had started moving the throw rugs to the closet. She had started leaving the bathroom light on, burning through bulbs, terrified of misstepping on the tile. She felt like a ghost in her own home, waiting for dawn. I see this pattern constantly, the quiet humiliation, the slow erosion of confidence. If you recognize that exact hollow feeling when the alarm rings, drop your age in the comments below and tell me how many times you stood up last night. Just type it. 2, 3, 4. You are not alone in this. And more importantly, you are not defective. Your body is trying to protect you. We just need to look past the bladder entirely. We have to look at gravity, circulation, and a hormone that is slowly changing its rhythm. Think of your body as a massive, intricate plumbing network suspended in a vertical frame. For 16 hours a day, gravity does exactly what physics demands. It pulls blood, lymphatic fluid, interstitial water straight down into your lower extremities. When you are 30, the venous valves in your legs snap shut like precision doors. The calf muscle pump acts as a secondary heart. But decades of standing, sitting, walking, and simply living take their toll. The vein walls lose their elastic recoil. The microscopic valves become sluggish. Fluid begins to seep out of the capillaries, pooling in the loose connective tissue around your ankles and shins. You might not even see swelling. You might just notice that your socks leave a faint indentation when you pull them off at night. A tiny ridge, a silent reservoir. Up to 1.5 liters of fluid can hide there by evening. That is 3 large glasses of water sitting dormant in your lower legs. Then comes bedtime. You lie down, gravity neutralizes. All that pooled fluid, suddenly unanchored, rushes back into your central bloodstream. Imagine a fire hose opening directly into your circulatory system while you are trying to fall asleep. Your heart, sensing this sudden, massive increase in blood volume, panics. It releases a hormone called atrial natriuretic peptide, ANP. Think of ANP as a frantic emergency telegram sent from your heart to your kidneys. Dump the volume. Protect the pump. Your kidneys obey instantly. They filter out sodium and water, pushing it through the ureters, filling your bladder with alarming speed. You wake up, you walk, you empty, but the reservoir hasn't finished draining. 2 hours later, the fluid shift completes. The bladder fills again. You wake up, you walk, you empty. This is why you can go to bed parched, with a completely dry mouth, and still wake up with a bladder that feels like it's bursting. You are literally draining your own legs. The bladder is just the receiving tank. It is functional. It is just responding to a flood that started hours earlier, in your ankles. But here is where the standard advice can fall apart. Stopping water at 6 in the evening doesn't always fix the flood. It makes the water in your bladder highly concentrated, acidic, irritating to the delicate mucosal lining. That irritation sends false urgency signals to your brain, waking you up even when the volume is low. And we need to look at what happens to your brain during those interrupted hours. Every time you wake up to urinate, you are pulling yourself out of slow-wave sleep. You are disrupting the deep restorative architecture your nervous system needs. During uninterrupted deep sleep, your brain activates a drainage system called the glymphatic pathway. Cerebrospinal fluid washes away metabolic debris, including amyloid beta proteins, fragments that sleep 3 or 4 times a night, and you are essentially putting the brain's janitorial staff on strike. The waste accumulates, the fog thickens, you start forgetting names, you misplace keys, you feel a dull, persistent heaviness behind your eyes. Often, patients ask for help and receive anticholinergic medications to relax bladder spasms. While these can be helpful for some, long-term studies suggest a potential link between certain bladder medications and cognitive side effects. It is a complex balance, one you should absolutely discuss with your prescribing doctor before making any changes. But what if we looked at a different axis? The hormonal axis. The one that controls whether your kidneys actually listen to the flood warning. As we cross 60, then 70, our pineal gland and hypothalamus gradually alter the production of vasopressin, antidiuretic hormone, ADH. Think of vasopressin as the night watchman at a massive hydroelectric dam. In your 30s, he stays wide awake until dawn, holding the floodgates closed, signaling your kidneys to concentrate urine, to let you sleep. In your 70s, the watchman's eyes grow heavy. He nods off. The gates swing open. The combination of elevated ANP from fluid pooling plus an altered ADH signal creates a perfect storm. Your heart signals to dump water. Your brain forgets to tell the kidneys to stop. This is why leg elevation alone often fails after a few weeks. It addresses the reservoir, but it does nothing for the watchman. When you aggressively cut fluids, you deplete your extracellular sodium-potassium balance. Your cells shrink, your blood volume drops, your heart detects the instability and overcompensates, releasing even more ANP. The system spirals. The missing piece is precise, targeted stabilization, a way to signal the heart that the blood volume is balanced. This requires us to look at a specific, overlooked biochemical interaction that happens in the late afternoon, right before the sun sets. At approximately 5 in the evening, your circadian rhythm begins its transition. Cortisol dips, melatonin rises. Your vascular tone shifts. This is the precise window for our self-observation experiment, a way to intercept the fluid cascade before it ever reaches your kidneys. The protocol is not complicated. It requires timing, gravity, and a careful approach to electrolyte balance. First, the mechanical drain. You lie down and elevate your legs above the level of your heart for 20 to 30 minutes, specifically between 4 and 6 in the evening, not right before bed, earlier. When you do this while awake, gravity returns the pooled fluid to your central circulation while your kidneys are still fully active and your brain is alert. You may feel a natural urge to urinate. You should go. You are likely to empty fluid that would otherwise have flooded your bladder at 2 in the morning. You are rinsing the reservoir on your terms. But the mechanical drain is only half the equation. 30 minutes before you actually get into bed, you take a tiny pinch of unrefined mineral salt, Celtic sea salt or Himalayan pink salt, not table salt. You let it dissolve on your tongue. You follow it with a single, small sip of water. This trace mineral addition may help stabilize your extracellular fluid. It signals to your heart that your blood volume is balanced, which could reduce the release of ANP. Instead of highly concentrated, acidic urine burning your bladder lining, you may help create a neutral, stable environment. The irritation often fades. Finally, you might consider 1,000 milligrams of cold-pressed pumpkin seed oil with your evening meal. Shown in some studies to help modulate local androgen metabolism, it could support prostate health in men and pelvic floor tone in women without the heavy side effects. It works at the cellular level. Try this for 3 consecutive nights. The first night, you might feel the mechanical shift. The second night, the stabilization may take hold. By the third night, you could experience a profound shift in your rest. You might find yourself sleeping straight through the night, not standing in the dark hallway, not doing the arithmetic of falls, just resting. The glymphatic system gets the time it needs. The brain fog could finally lift. You may begin to reclaim your independence through biological alignment. Share this experiment with someone you love who is exhausted, who is hiding their throw rugs, who is quietly terrified of the dark. Subscribe now, because next week, I am exposing exactly how a hidden 4 a.m. spike in cortisol is locking visceral fat around your organs, and the 3-minute morning habit that switches it off. The information provided in this presentation is for educational and informational purposes only, and does not constitute medical advice. This content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical diagnosis, treatment, or advice. Always seek the guidance of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or before starting any new diet, exercise, supplement, or health regimen. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard here. Do not stop taking any prescribed medications without first consulting your doctor. Individual results may vary.